Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Camille, and I read and review Christian fiction, no spice romance, and clean fiction. And today we are going to talk about the books that I read in October. We have 12 books to talk about today. I have my reading journal handy to help me remember everything about these books. I had 4 arcs this month, 3 of which, nope, they're all released by now. Hello, Quinn. So they're all released by now. The first book that I finished reading in October was actually a reread, and that was a reread of One More Song by Annah Conwell. I annotated this book during my reread. I highlighted all my favorite parts, tabbed it, and I still really like this book. I actually like this book more than the first time I read it. So that was exciting. It's definitely not my favorite of the series, but it was way better than the first time I read it, so that was good. I don't have too much to say about it. I guess I can tell you a little bit what it's about. It is about these 2 people were like childhood friends growing up, and the guy, his name is Wyatt. He is a singer, and whenever he got his like big break to Nashville, he decided that he was going to just leave the girl they were dating at the time. So he broke up with Grace, is her name, and went to Nashville. And it has been, how long has it been? Oh, 5 years. Now he's coming back, and he still loves her, and he's trying to win her back. And she's not having it because he dumped her, which totally valid reason. Anyways, so that's what this is about. So it's a second chance rom-com. Okay, next we have Augmented by Candace, Kade. This is the 3rd book in the Hybrid series. I read this on my Kindle. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was good. It's like the 3rd book in the series, so I don't want to say too much, but I can tell you that the series takes place, it's a sci-fi book, and it takes place, it's like a futuristic China, which is kind of cool. I haven't read too many books. I really like the setting. So it's like this futuristic China where people are enhanced, and you can like buy enhancements, but only people who are like wealthy enough to afford them can buy them, obviously. So, and the book is about urban, and she starts out as a natural, which is what people who are just like regular humans like you and me are called. And throughout the course of the series, she discovers her true worth. I really like this book. I liked this book, and I like the series. I like the themes of self-worth and family and finding strength even when you feel broken. And yeah, it was really good. I definitely enjoyed the first book better, but I also like the whole like character arc over the course of the series, but I definitely enjoyed the first book just cuz it has all like the setting stuff, and like she's going to school to university, and there's like all this really cool technology. There's still cool technology in the second 2 books, but like the first one is really good. So if that sounds interesting, go ahead and pick that up. And sorry, I'm looking at my notes because it's been a whole month since I read most of these, so I will be looking at my notes, but that's okay. So this second book the 3rd book that I read was Daughter of Light by Morgan L. Busse. This is the first book in the Follower of the Word trilogy, and these are the new redesigned covers from Enclave. And I gave this book 5 stars. Okay, Morgan L. Busse is one of my like all-time favorite fantasy authors. But this book is about Rowan, and when she finds a strange mark on her hand, her village accuses her of being a witch and casts her out. So she travels to this the big city is called the White City. It's like the capital kind of their country, and she starts training to become a guard for the princess. And lots of things happen, but basically the white mark is a symbol of power, and that she's not quite what she thought she was, and the mark allows her to see into people's minds, so when she touches them she can see like all of their deepest darkest like thoughts and secrets. And so she wears a glove over her hand so the people in the palace don't suspect her of being a witch. and and that's kind of all I can tell you, but it's really good. I'm eager to read the next books in the series, but I have this problem where I kind of get like, I don't know, I just kind of like, I'm like, oh yes, I want to read the next book. And then 2 months goes by and I'm just like, okay, now I'm ready to pick up the rest of the series. I need to get better about that because I really do enjoy reading series altogether, but I just have so many books I want to read. My favorite thing about this series or this book was that it is it comes after the events of the Nordic Wars series, right? After, right? Yes. So there's callbacks to the Nordic War series and there's like allusions to it, and I'm just like hoping there's going to be like more in the future books cuz that would be really fun. I always love her strong biblical themes. They always shine through strong prose and an engaging plot. The Christian themes were profound, especially the scenes featuring the word. The word is like God in the book. And all of the characters are well written. I felt connected to Rowan, especially as she struggled to give up her own will and what she wanted to do with her life to the word, and like how she had to like surrender herself. That was really impactful. So I gave this book 5 stars and I really liked it. I already said that, duh. And then the next book is Ties of Deception by Alice Ivinya. I gave this book 4 stars. This book is part of the Tethered Hearts multi-author series. You can read them in any order. They're all standalones. They just have the same themes of somehow, some way or another, each of like the couples is tethered together in some sort of way. This book is about what is her name? Purity. Purity is her name. And she wakes up in the beginning of this book. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't have any memories. And the people whose home she wakes up in tells her that she is a grace, which is kind of like a goddess, and she is supposed to live in this house, and all she has to do is be happy, and the people around her will be blessed. The happier she is, the more they will get blessed. And she's like, okay, well, that sounds simple enough, but it's not quite so simple because there's a lot going on under the surface. And when this god of death named Ethan shows up and starts telling her all this stuff, and then they start investigating, things aren't as they seem under the surface, as they often are. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. I did end up calling the main plot twist like right at the end, but everything else that like led up to that, I was like super surprised and like not expecting it. The plot was really good. It was twisty, it was unpredictable. I didn't know what was going to happen next. Ethan was one of the sweetest male leads I've read in a while, and if you want yearning, you guys, you should read this book because he's like yearning after her and he just loves her so much, and he just like gives her space, but the whole time he's like still letting her know that he loves her, and it was just so good. I am going to say one thing: this book deals heavily with gods and graces similar to Greek and Roman mythology. The plot is also centered around, possible spoiler alert, reincarnation. There's no weird like chants or incantations or anything, but I just did want you guys to be aware of that. So I thought it was good. I listened to the audiobook and the audiobook was like great. I was not expecting that. So that was really fun. Okay, my first arc I get to talk about, Ocean of Ink by A.R. Conwell, and I think I talked about this in one of my last videos. A.R. Conwell is actually Annah Conwell's fantasy pen name, so she is starting to write fantasy as well in addition to her rom-coms. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, I'm sold. I was like, I gotta get my hands on this book. I need it. I love all of her rom-coms. I've read every single one of them this year. She's been my most read author this year because I've just been like binging all of her rom-coms. This one was really good. I gave it 5 stars. It released on October 21st, so it's out. I think it's on Kindle Unlimited. I think it might be on Kindle Unlimited. And yes, it was just so good. It's about Ren, and it starts out, her brother is dead. It's really sad. It's a really sad start to the story. But it starts out, her brother is dead, and she has this gift where she can sense everyone around her, everyone's emotions around her. So she decides that she is going to go to this college It's called the Obsidian Academy, and she is going to find out who killed her brother because she thinks that somebody had to have killed him. That was my cat, ladies and gentlemen. So she goes to the academy, and one of the first people she meets is Castian, and he also has a gift, and I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's kind of complex and hard to explain, but it's also really cool. And he is also investigating her, and they kind of end up working together, like begrudgingly at first, and then getting to know each other, and they write letters to each other, and all the while they're still like investigating her brother's death, and some now other students are dying, so they're trying to figure out what happens and why these students are getting targeted. It was really good. I took my time reading this, but I was always thinking about it. It was always in the back of my mind, even when I was doing other things, even when I was reading other books. But I just took my time reading it because I didn't want it to be over. And that ending is brutal, y'all. I need the next book, like, stat. Ren is exactly the heroine I'd love to see more of in romantasy novels. She is sweet. She is very feminine. She doesn't fight with weapons. She's not very good at fighting, but she's still so strong in her own way. And I just love that. And that's the kind of character, female character, that I absolutely love. And I would love to see more of, because a lot of the times those characters that are like, I'm gonna fight you and I'm stronger than all the men and I don't need a man, they really get on my nerves. And I definitely have had some exceptions to that, but for the most part, I don't like characters like that. Like, they just annoy me. Because that's not how I am, and I'm just like, okay, that's a little unrealistic, and I don't think you can actually physically do more than this man who's like 6 inches taller than you and weighs like 100 more pounds than you or whatever, you know? So, anyways, Rabbit Trail. I really like that. And Castian, if you thought that the Ties of Deception had yearning, wow. It's like yearning on yearning on yearning. And it is like such a slow burn, you guys. This romance is such a slow burn. Like, I don't even think there's like a kiss in this book. If there is, it's at like the very end. Like, I don't even remember if there's a kiss, but it was so good. I'm excited to find out what happens next. I'm so sad that I have to wait till next year. But I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's fine. I just love all these characters, and I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to get a physical copy of this book. I can't wait to read it again. I will probably be reading it again before the second book comes out. So, yeah. Ocean of Ink, 5 stars. Very good. Now for one of my first favorite of this month. I have 3. This is the first one. Alliance Bride by J.L. Knight. I gave this book 6 stars, you guys. It actually just released today, November 7th. Is it on Kindle Unlimited? I don't know. It might be. Go find it. Go read it. It's amazing. If you love Carrie Cotton's Huntress series, if you've read J.L. Knight's other books, I assume they're similar. I haven't read them yet, but I'm fixing to get started reading them because, wow, it was so good. If you like the Chronicles of Illyria, I'm just looking for other things that, wait. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It was good. Okay, so this book is medieval fiction. We've got Vikings. Vikings, you guys. I love the Vikings. Oh, I love them so much. Okay, we've got Vikings. We've got an arranged marriage. A marriage of convenience, I guess, because they're marrying to ally their 2 countries. So it's marriage of convenience, found family, faith, heavy Christian, good Christian faith content. Oh my word. Just sweet everyday life in the Viking village. The characters, sweet banter back and forth, funny banter, like brotherly relationships with the main guy and his brothers and his cousin, and just, oh my gosh, you guys, I love this book. My copy, I don't know. I'll just tell you about this book first. I have to try to sum it up. Okay, so Eadlyn, yeah, is the princess of this country, kind of like it's like an England-based country, kind of. So I think this is like non-magical medieval fantasy because the countries are made up, but there's no magic. So it's kind of like non-magical medieval fantasy. That's why I said the Chronicles of Illyria or the Huntress series, because that's what those are. Um, and it's Christian fiction. And so this is about Edelyn. She's the princess of this like English country. Her brother is the king. Their father was a terrible guy. He's like run their kingdom into the ground. They are this other kingdom that borders them is kind of threatening them, and so they need an alliance with someone who is stronger than them and who can provide, provide they can mutually help each other, and so they propose an alliance with the Nords, I think. The Nords, I think, is what they're called. And the Nordic king has like four sons. No, three sons, and the only one who is available for marriage is the youngest son. His name is Avar. Love him so much. So sweet, so respectful. So anyways, they get married, and then Edelyn travels back with them to the Nordic country, obviously. And then most of the book is just her like assimilating kind of into their culture and learning the language and building a relationship with her sister-in-law and her future sister-in-law and her mother-in-law and the brothers and Avar. Of course we got that relationship. Sorry, there was wind with them. And there's some secrets in Avar's past, and he is not planning on falling in love with Edelyn because he has had a tragic love story in the past. And it was just so good. So it was just so good. The faith content, you guys, I teared up so many times. It was so good. From the beginning, Edelyn is like, I don't want this marriage. I don't want this. And she's praying to God and like, please, is there any other way? But if there's not, please protect me and keep me safe and help me to be able to handle this with grace. And it was so beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh, that is what I want to read more of. A character like Edelyn. She had these scrolls from the Bible that she read, and she read them to Avar every night, and she witnessed to him, and it was so good. So good. I loved it. It was just so good, you guys. Okay, so one of my favorite reads of the year. I have never read a JL Knight book, but you guys, I really want to read the rest of them now. I own all the rest of her Ilion Chronicles book on my Kindle, and I'm like itching to get to them. So hopefully I only have a couple months left this year, but hopefully next year I will read that entire series. And if it's half as good as Alliance Bride, I know I'm gonna love it. I love this story. It is so good. I pre-ordered a signed copy before I even finished it. That's how much I loved this story. I just found this on Instagram and I saw that it was like Nordic medieval fantasy with an arranged marriage, and I was like, click, I want to be an ARC reader. Can I please be an ARC reader? Because I need this book. Okay, so I absolutely adore medieval fiction. I'm coming to find out the culture, the time period, just the way of life and the lifestyle, and the way the characters are always like portrayed in all the ones I've read. I love it. So, yes, her strong faith was so inspiring. She lit up the page, and I adored the way she fit in so seamlessly with Avar's family. And Avar was also so sweet. I loved how he looked after Edelyn and protected her. And there was so many times where he would be like watching her across the room, and then she would like catch him watching, and I was like, they're so cute. And he like fought his feelings for so long, but finally he could just couldn't help it anymore. And that was just like, oh, oh my goodness. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. But there's a faith conversion. There's a good, like, great, like, faith. Like, oh, it's so beautiful and so powerful. And I just loved it so much. Okay, we're still recording. Okay, that's good. Okay, we gotta move a little faster here. Okay, so next up was The Designated Friend by Drew Taylor. I gave it 4.5 stars. I don't have too much to say about this book. All I'm gonna say is that this is a best friends to more rom-com, and they go on a road trip. and they fall in love, obviously, or they realize their feelings for each other. Yeah. I really loved the faith content in this book. I've been reading a lot of Drew Taylor lately, and her books are so full of good, solid, like faith content. Like her characters are always like praying, asking God for help. You know, they go to church. It's just, I love it. Especially the guy, male character in this book. He was always praying for the female main character because she wasn't a Christian. But he was always praying for her and praying for their relationship. And the one thing that is why it's not 5 stars is he kept pursuing her even though he knew she wasn't a Christian. And I know he was like praying about it, but at the same time, he was like a really solid Christian. And I was like, don't really know how I feel about that because he knew she wasn't a Christian and yet he was still pursuing her. But at the same time, he was showing God's love to her while he pursued her in such a godly way. So that kind of helped with her faith journey, but I still wasn't sure. It was just kind of like a gray area, and I was like, because he knew the Bible what the Bible says about that, and I was just kind of like, I didn't care for that, but it was good. Other than that, it was good. I would still recommend it for a good Christian romance. I have to say, Drew Taylor's books kind of can be a little tad on the descriptive side when like they're kissing and stuff. Um, and it's not something that I like super enjoy reading. Like I'll read it, but I'm not like sometimes I'm just like, oh, that didn't need to be said, like but overall it wasn't inappropriate. It just is a little more descriptive than I like sometimes, but I still really enjoyed it. So 4.5 stars. Okay, we have 4 more. Okay. I'm doing good. Okay, the next book I'm gonna talk to you about is another arc. And this one was a little bit of a letdown, but I also kind of expected it. So, What You Can't Lose by Mikayla Robbins. This is a Christian historical suspense, although I have to say the Christian faith content was a little lighter than I would have liked. And I'll get to that in a second. But it's about this woman. Her name is Josie. She is running away from the city where she lived because she thought she killed her husband in like self-defense, and she signs up to be mail order bride to this guy. He has 3 kids and he needs a wife to take care of them, and so she goes out to Montana, marries him. Yep, and then it kind of goes from there. I liked this book. If it would have not had the villain point of view, it does have a villain point of view, and it is really intense. It's actually, I ended up just skipping. I read like 2 of his chapters, and then I ended up just skipping all the chapters because it was like too much, and I was like, I don't need this in my head. This is freaking me out, and I don't need this in my head. And he was just like the worst person, and also I was like, I don't know how realistic this is that he's like this like horrible person, and he's like so completely like evil. Like he was just like completely evil, and I was like, I know there's people like that, but it just didn't feel super realistic. And like he was just like doing things and being like violent for like he had like no reason. And he referred to himself in like third person. It was weird. I didn't like it. Okay. So if it didn't have the villain POV, it would have been better suited to me because then it would have just been Josie and Travis, the guy she married, falling in love, working on the homestead, taking care of the children, and those parts were all really cute and I really liked those. But the descriptions of abuse and violence were a little too much for me. I don't think this series is for me. I actually told the author I couldn't be on the rest of her street team for the rest of these books in the series releasing because it just wasn't for me. So that's fine. I know that happens. I didn't realize how descriptive the domestic abuse would be. So just wanting to let you guys know there is lots of descriptions of violence and domestic abuse in this book, and they're not light descriptions. They're kind of detailed. So if that is something that triggers you, I would probably avoid this book. There was one thing that happened towards the end, and I don't want to spoil it, but basically, towards the end, something happens, and the main characters handled it in a way that didn't feel very, like, cohesive with their Christian beliefs. They didn't go to the authorities about it. They kind of just swept it under the rug literally and just like never said anything about it anyways. And it didn't feel right. It left me feeling gross. I was like, seriously, this feels like something the villain would have done. Like they just left the situation and they didn't tell anybody. They didn't report it. They could have reported it and not have told like all the details to the local authorities or whatever, you know. But yeah, I would have enjoyed this a lot more if this was just Josie like rebuilding her life with Travis and the kids, because the kids were adorable. I love them. But yeah, there was just a couple things that were just too much for me, and the villain was too much for me, and I just didn't like it. So it is what it is. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. If it sounds like something you would like, go for it. But personally, it wasn't for me. So okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Never Forgotten by Hannah Linder. This is a Regency historical suspense kind of. It is like Regency suspense, which is crazy that I liked this book because there were a lot of times I was like, wow, wow, oh my word, how are they going to get out of this one alive? You know, I'm like, wow, that just came out of nowhere. So it was really good. I gave it 4 stars. It's like a Regency mystery suspense because it does have quite a bit of suspense. But this is about Georgina and Simon. And 12 years before this book starts, Simon was engaged to Georgina, but he actually ended up running away to America because he didn't want to marry her. He marries this lady in America, and she gets murdered. And they have 2 little kids, and she gets murdered. So he comes back to England 12 years later to find the people who killed his wife, and there's a lot of other things going on. And Georgina ends up getting mixed up with it, and in the process, they kind of fall in love. It was good. I felt like there were a lot of suspenseful moments, but they were always, and they could be slightly disturbing at times, but it was always balanced out by like a tender moment between Simon and his kids, or between Simon and Georgina, or something like that. And so that kind of helped like balance it out. The mystery was unpredictable and kept me on my toes. I was never able to figure out what was coming next. I read this book. I felt like I read it pretty fast, but it says I took 10 days to finish it, but I felt like I read it really fast. The kids were super sweet. And it was so sad because they went through so much trauma. Those poor little kids. That was the one thing. That's probably one reason I gave it 4 stars, because if there's anything happening to the children, it hurts my heart, and I just would way rather it not hurt. Don't hurt the children. Don't hurt the children. I know the children get hurt, but I don't want to read about that. I don't know. It was really good. This is a really good autumn mystery reread. The romance was really good. It's definitely like a slow burn because in the beginning, like he's still like misjudging her, and like he has all these presuppositions about her, and it takes him time to get over those. But it was really good. I really liked it, so I gave that one 4 stars. Okay, so the next book we're going to talk about is another arc. I think I had 4. Yeah, I had 4 arcs this month. So this is the last one. Christmas on the Goblin Express by Jaye Fischer. You guys, this book is so cute. It's so stinking adorable. It's just so cute. I love it so much. Okay, this book is about Claire, and she is a medical student. The best thing about this book is it's set in Australia, where Jaye Fischer is from, and I just think that's so fun. So she's an Australian medical student who is struggling to enjoy Christmas this year, and this is the first Christmas she's going to be by herself for reasons. I will let you figure that out on your own. And she's not happy. And so she is walking down the street, and this steam train just appears out of nowhere. Like in Harry Potter, I guess. I've only read the first 2 Harry Potter books, but like it just appears. And it is the Goblin Express, and it is where people from all different worlds, yes, I said worlds, get to escape their respective Christmas holiday. So she jumps on and she meets a lot of different people. She meets this guy who's like really mysterious, and she kind of like giving him like Strider vibes, like Aragorn, and she's like always like looking for like his elf ears and like trying to figure out what he is, and like saying stuff about how he looks like Aragorn, and like how he just like looks like Aragorn and stuff. And that was like my favorite thing because I love Lord of the Rings. So then they have to and then things happen. They have to save the Goblin Express. So it's just a cute little Christmas novella. It's just like 200 pages, well over 200 pages. And it was so cute. The banter, the characters, the little like lighthearted plot. It was so fun. I loved it so much. Everything I've come to expect from J.J. Fischer, it was great. I loved it. That's all pretty much, but you should definitely pick this up for a fun little Christmas read. I don't know if it's on Kindle Unlimited or not, but you should definitely go check it out. Okay, my second to last book for this video is Guardian by Cathy McCrumbs. This is the third book in the Children of the Consortium series. I gave this book 6 stars. This is my second favorite of October. And it was so good. I don't know if you can see all the tabs, but it was so, so good. I enjoyed it so much. This entire series was so good. I didn't think it could get any better, but Guardian really like proved me wrong, because everything, all the relationships, all the plot lines, all the everything come to like a culmination in this book. That was one reason I love last books in series so much. I can't really tell you too much about this because it's the third book, and spoilers. I can't say. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Everything just my heart. I think I might have cried. I don't remember crying, but I might have. I cried at the end of Aberration. I cried. It was really sad. Um I shouldn't be surprised because I tend to love the conclusion to series the most, but this was another level. I love the cast of characters in this book. It's such a big cast of characters. When I first started listening to the first book, I was like, oh boy, I am in for it. Like, this is like confusing. And it did take me a while to remember. But once I did remember, it was like, I love all of these characters. Oops, the book is falling out. This is so good. I love this sci fi technology and world in this book. I already want to reread the series. One of the best things about this book was the relationships. I can't say anymore, but the relationships. And all of the beautiful themes of pro life and hope. There are some hints of God in this book and hints of a creator. Some of them believe in a creator, some of them don't. But that is kind of a source of some of the hope in this story. I just know I'm going to be thinking about these characters forever. Like, they just live like rent free in my head, like, pretty much. Especially from this book, but just pretty much from like all the books. I just love it. So that's about all I can say, but this is so good. If you like sci fi, read this series. If you've never read sci fi, start with this series. If you don't like sci fi, read this series, because this series might make you like sci fi, because I haven't read very much sci fi before this series, and I'm just like, I want to read all the sci fi that I can get my hands on. And I know they're not all going to be as good as this, but I still want to read more of it. Okay, the last book we're going to talk about in this video, Sense and Suitability by Pepper Basham. This is my last 6-star book of the month, which means it's also my third favorite. So I had 3 favorites. This is the last one. Oh, look at all my tabs. It's so pretty. I loved this book. This is Pepper Basham's first Regency. And if she doesn't write more Regency, I'm going to riot, because this was perfect. I loved it. This was like perfect Regency. Some people say it's like a Regency rom-com, and I guess I could see that, but I just call it Regency. It was so good. It was so sweet. I loved it so much. The faith content was so good. This book is about Emmeline Lockhart, and she has had 2 failed seasons trying to find a husband. She was in love with Simon Reeves, and she thought they were a perfect match until he disappeared on the night he was supposed to propose. And now he's back 2 years later, and she's trying to fight her feelings. She's never stopped loving him, but she's like, I can't let myself love him because he hurt me. She is also an author, which is scandalous because Regency, women can't be authors. And so she's like keeping that a secret from everyone. And now Simon is back. He's looking for a wealthy wife because his estate is in shambles and he has several younger siblings that he has to take care of, and he needs someone who can help him build up this estate with money. And so she decides she's going to help him, and she decides that she's going to help him find a wife, even though she's still in love with him and he's still in love with her. A lot of these tabs are him thinking about how much he loves her. It's just so cute. So this was such a good book. I loved it. I did not expect to love it as much as I did. I've seen people on Instagram telling how much they loved it, but I loved it so much. This is kind of based on Jane Austen, obviously, Sense and Suitability. There's lots of references to Sense and Sensibility in here, and that was awesome because I love that book. So Simon was so great. Pretty much every time he was on page, I was like smiling. The way he thought about Emma and how he was so clearly smitten with her was so adorable. Plus, the way he interacted with his siblings and the respectful way he handled conflict with other people made him such a compelling, like, hero. Even though he had his flaws, he was still such a great guy. Em was also so funny. She was witty, she was kind, she was humorous, she was sensible. She was sensible. And she was just like a delightful Regency heroine, even though her family bordered on ridiculous, like some of Jane Austen's family. She was level headed and yet still full of wit and whimsy. Whenever Simon and Em were on page together, their chemistry and cuteness was so well executed. Definitely one of my new favorite Regencies. This book was so cute, you guys. Even if you don't like Regency, you should totally read this. I mean, just look at all my tabs. You should totally read it. So that is the end of all the books I read in October. So if you guys have read any of these books, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't, let me know what your favorite book of October was. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share this with your friends. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!